Hey, welcome to part 2 of How Do You See Your Child? I'll be talking about unique characteristics today. Thank you for watching Let's Talk Parenting. I'm Veronica Kasengo Fruitful. Really pleased that you're watching this because my goal is to share with us information that can help us to succeed as parents. If you haven't already done so, then please subscribe to this channel. Help me build this channel because I really want to reach as many parents as I possibly can. Press like and share this video. Also, leave me a comment. Your comments help me because they just motivate me to do more videos. So leave me a comment. All comments are welcome, honestly. So I've been talking about building characteristics, and in part 1 I shared why this was important. Character is who we are. Character defines us to others, and the type of characteristics that you have determines whether you will succeed or not. And our role as parents is to help our children to strengthen their characteristics, because we already have these character strengths inside us, but they just need to be built up. So our role as parents is to help our children to strengthen their characteristics. If you're a parent and this is all new to you, how do you begin to even help your child build their characteristics? Well, in part 1, I shared that it begins with us. It begins with us changing our perspective of how we see our children, because the way that we see them really influences how they see themselves. And in part 1, I shared a story about the children of Israel. So in the Bible, there's an amazing story about the children of Israel who basically left Egypt after being slaves for a very long time, and they were traveling to go to the promised land. And this is the land which God promised them. It was their inheritance. And the one thing that was kind of preventing them from taking over this land was the way that they saw themselves. It talks about how Moses chose 12 men to go and spy on this land and to come and let them know what the land was like. When these 12 men went and spied, they came back, and 10 of them came with a negative report that said that they were as small as a grasshopper. I mean, if you've seen a grasshopper, it's pretty tiny. So this is how they saw themselves. And I believe that one of the reasons why they saw themselves like this is because of where they came from. See, they were coming from generations of slavery, 400 years. That's like their parents were slaves, their parents' parents were slaves, their great-grandparents were slaves, and even the generation before that were slaves. And that can really mess up your mind about what you think of yourself. So this is how they saw themselves. They saw themselves as small as grasshoppers. And it reminds me of, you know, when you go for a job interview and there's like 2 or 3 other people that are waiting to be interviewed, and I don't know, you all kind of start talking with each other, and you find out that the other 2, one of them went to Cambridge University, the other one went to Oxford, and you only went to East London University. Not that there's anything wrong with that university, but you just start getting this, I'm not worthy to be here because you went to that university and they went to the other university. Well, that's kind of the feeling that these 10 spies got when they saw the other land and the people that were in this land. How can a child begin to see themselves as self-worthy if they're surrounded by people who talk down to them, who say negative things to them, who pay more attention to the negative behavior that they are displaying? How can they begin to see themselves as worthy? Because children depend on our opinion. They depend on what we think of them. And that is what lets them know that they are worth it, lets them know that they're good, and that they can be confident. It boosts them up. Now, as a parent, I know it's not easy. We don't intentionally mean to say negative things to our kids. I mean, sometimes it just comes out of anger or the frustration that they make us feel because of their behavior. Just last week, one of my neighbors was coming home from picking up her children from school, and I heard them having a conversation, and her little girl said something to the mother. And then the mother said to this girl, well, that's why you're stupid, blah, blah, blah. And she went on to explain to her why she was stupid. Now, this girl looked about 6, 7 years old. And this is her role model. This is the person she looks up to. And this person is telling her that she's stupid. Do we think she's going to have the confidence that she needs to put her hand up in school when a teacher asks a question? She's not. So that's why I'm talking about the importance of building characteristics in our children, because our opinion, what we think of them, it really matters. It matters to them, and it gives them the confidence, or takes away the confidence that they should have when they're growing up. So my second suggestion I want to make in helping our children strengthen their characteristic is to talk to our children about what makes them unique. And we can start with something simple like their name. I mean, of all the names that you could have given your child, you chose this particular name: Sarah, Adam, Veronica. Why that name? What does it mean? I mean, what was you thinking when you thought of the name? So this kind of conversation really helps to build our children's self-confidence or self-esteem. Even noticing what's unique about them in terms of the way that they are. So maybe your child is really funny, or maybe your child is the one that cheers everybody else up. Maybe they are really good at drawing. So noticing these things and letting them know really boosts their self-esteem. The third thing I want to talk about is changing a negative characteristic into a positive one. We know that the Bible in Romans 4:17 says that we should be calling those things that be not as though they are. So we have the power in our mouths to speak life, or even to speak death. So when you have this power, you can use it in a positive way, or you can use it in a negative way. So when you see your child, they might be behaving in a way that you don't approve of, but rather than focusing on that which is negative, try and see what is good in them and call those things forth. But another thing that you could do is you could take what they like and just think of it in a positive way. So let's say, for example, you have a child that is really messy. Every child goes through that stage where they are messy. Well, most children anyway. I was very tidy. Ask my mom. So if you have a child that is really messy, instead of seeing the mess, what you could do is see them as being artistic, or see them as being creative. Criticizing them and saying to them, oh, you're so messy, like you need to get clean and you need to be tidy, really doesn't motivate them to become, confident. I mean, just take a look, for example, this artwork. This is by the artist Pablo Picasso. Now, this work, to me, when I look at it, it just looks confusing and probably don't make sense. And probably his parents as well, when he started off being an artist, they probably thought, what on earth are you doing? But his work has really influenced massively the way that art is seen today. But did you know that when he started, his work was actually criticized? I mean, some people called it demonic. Some people described it as schizophrenic. And one psychiatrist said that his work was so evil, it didn't deserve to be in an art gallery. But did you know that this very same artist today, his artwork, it is worth 104 million US dollars. That's just for one painting. So we don't know the gifts that is within our children. So paying attention to, the mess is not going to help. But if you saw them as being creative and created a space where they can go and be creative, that would be more effective. Well, let's think of other examples. What about if you have a child that is lazy, right? How do we see that in a positive light? Well, you could see them as just being laid back, and there's nothing wrong with being laid back. So rather than telling them that they're lazy, you can just describe them as being laid back and talk to them about when it's okay to be laid back and when they need to be proactive. Another example I can think of is if you have a child that talks a lot. That one was me. In fact, just last week, my mom was telling me about when I was young, I just would not stop talking, to the point where they had to send me to my room. I would be interrupting her conversation with her adult friends or with my dad. So yeah, I'm one of them. So if you have one of these, don't say to them, oh, you just talk too much and you need to shut up and all of that. The best way is to just look at them as, another artist, because they could grow up and become a presenter. They could grow up and be a great leader. They could grow up and become a presenter or even a YouTuber. So it's best for us to not pay attention to, what a nuisance they're being by talking too much, and just think of them as being creative. I had a parent who shared with me that their child was clumsy and they just tripped and fell over things all the time, and they didn't know how they could turn that into a positive. So what I said to the parent was, well, does the child need to know that they are clumsy? Which, by the way, they already actually do know. I'm sure somebody out there has already told them that they're clumsy. The best thing to do in a situation like that is to pay attention when they're not being clumsy and to just praise them and acknowledge it. That gives them more of a desire to want to fight off being clumsy, and you'll be surprised. But as they're getting older, they will no longer be clumsy. Now, it's not always easy to turn a negative character trait into a positive one. The key message is, whatever negative character trait they have, look at it from a positive light and also speak life into them. Call those things that you believe your child is capable of being and speak that out loud. My last suggestion in helping to strengthen our children's character strength is to pay attention to what they are interested in. So I know as a parent, we all have our dreams. We want our kids to be doctors, to save the world and become lawyers, etc. But it is better for us to notice what they are interested in and invest in it. Because if we push them into what we're into, they're just going to grow up and resent it or resent us. We don't want that. That is all I have time for today. Thank you once again for watching my video. Really appreciate you. Thank you if you've already subscribed as well. Share this video to others so that they can also get the same information and also subscribe to the channel. I'll see you next time. But before you go, I just want to give a big shout out to my nephew, Joy Mbengo, who lives in Birmingham, because we're talking about talent. And just last week, he was on the news. He's an amazing basketball player. I'm so proud of you, and I just wish you all the best. Watch this.
Right, Dan has joined me, which means it must be sport. And Dan, we've got some positive news. Thank goodness for that. Some students are going to set to benefit from a new initiative.
Yes, these are Birmingham students, the City Academy. They're teaming up with the Birmingham Rockets basketball team. The partnership's the first in the country. The students get really good coaching and there's the chance of scholarships in the United States. Ian Winter reports.
Let's hear it for Year 11 at the City Academy, Birmingham.
I'm Lawrence.
Jay.
Natasha.
Jay.
Dante. Chardonnay.
Cairo. Amari.
I would say if you haven't played basketball before, just get involved and see how you like it, because it's a very interesting sport and very competitive.
Yeah, just have a go because you'll end up enjoying it.
It's always been such a popular sport with young people, but now for the first time in the UK, a basketball academy has formed a partnership with a professional team. And that means Ricardo Dalva from the Birmingham Rockets is providing top quality coaching for these talented students with bags of energy and enthusiasm. Ricardo joined the Birmingham Rockets from Portugal 2 years ago. His coaching work with young people has caught the eye of the Commonwealth Games organisers. They made him a hometown hero in the countdown to Birmingham 2022.
Oh, I'm very happy and proud for that achievement. It was something that I wasn't expecting when I came here, and I'm really happy and pleased to be receiving that award.
Joy Mbengo is 15 years old, 6'1" and still growing. He's also so talented that he's already been signed up by the Rockets, which will take his basketball to another level.
I was very over the moon. Like, it's something that, you know, you don't really experience after, because it's Birmingham. It's not USA, like how they have like top. This is Birmingham, so, you know, kind of low, but still, it don't matter. We can build on it, so I like it. Yeah.